Right. So I didn't know if I was going to make a video about this or discuss this or talk about this as a whole, really. Um, sorry, I'm recording this on Teams. I just think it's easier for me to do something without having to think about video editing, because it's just a little bit of insight, and there's going to be loads of people talking about this, and there's so many people who have different viewpoints on it and different aspects on it. But I just wanted to try to provide some clarity on why I think it failed, right? Or why I think events like this are becoming the norm and why certain companies do really well in terms of events because they understand the demographic, right? You may have seen my tweet in relation to this, but I thought I would just expand upon that tweet a little bit. There was 4 points that I highlighted on my tweet in relation to esports in particular and these events in the UK. So the first one that I wanted to highlight in relation to it was the fact that I didn't believe that Insomnia did a particularly great job as someone who runs an organization, runs a team, etc., in relation to trying to get people to actually want to go there. Um, so they reached out in relation to if I was interested in doing sponsorship in terms of content or have my own stall, etc. I know they also contacted a range of universities in relation to this as well, but they were asking for a lot of money, like a lot of money. I'm not going to go into figures, but in comparison to Insomnia before, we're looking at 2.5 times as much to have a stall at those events. And they weren't really forthcoming with what we would actually get out of it, right? And don't get me wrong, as someone who runs a card shop, and I would have been quite happy to take my card shop down, but I probably would have got some customers in relation to it, etc. It didn't look like it was going to be particularly high value for me as a market. It wasn't a particularly card market focused event. There wasn't anything I was thinking there's going to be a particularly valued asset behind it. But that was the first thing that sort of was a red flag to me. So they didn't particularly approach that well in comparison to the old Insomnia team, and they really didn't chase after it either. So, and I know that I wasn't the only one. I've obviously worked for another organization as well who also put chase in relation to it. And then I also know that other people within the esports industry were also chased in relation to things or didn't really have much follow up in terms of it. The next one was from a team perspective, right? And I love LAN and I wish I went to more LANs. And like I say to John every time when he organises Epic LAN, I wish I could make it, but it falls on a bank holiday and I've got a young family on the way, so it wasn't something that I can necessarily easily do, go down to Kettering, etc. But the price of it was ridiculous, right? Um, I know for some games, and I know that Rocket League is one of the only lands in the UK in relation to it, and it's a good opportunity for players to get involved in and get that opportunity. But for stuff like Valorant and CS, you completely push yourself out of the market in relation to it because Epic Land do it at a much better price and a much better opportunity. They also didn't really explain the expo floor particularly much in relation to it, and they kind of didn't have much of an identity, right? They were like, "Oh, we'll just be old Insomnia," but Insomnia. And I've been given insomnia since like I32, right? So it's been like 15 something years in relation to it. Insomnia has been losing its identity. It's moved away from Milan and it kind of became a commercial flaw. And then after that, it became um, a hotspot for, um, if I'm going to be honest in relation to it, military recruitment in some systems and failures of anime and cons, etc. And don't get me wrong, I love Insomnia. I was be the first person to highlight to you. I used to love Insomnia as a person, and it really is sad to see it's gone. But I'm not surprised that this happened. Right? I really wish it didn't happen. I really wish that they could pull off something, but I'm glad that if anything, the organisers had sense now to cancel it before they did a Never to the Moon Expo, for example. So that's my view on it. I hope that helps. If you've got any questions in relation to it, I recommend if you're looking for a LAN or you're looking for opportunities and you think you can get players together and your game isn't at that stage, maybe reach out to John from Epic LAN. He's always looking at doing right by gaming communities. I'm looking forward to DreamHack in Birmingham. as well, and it's good to have Dream back in the UK. It is a shame to see another event disappear, um, but it's important to understand why it didn't happen. So once again, thank you very much in relation, guys. I hope that this helps. As someone who's got a master in events management, I thought it would be quite useful for me to sort of highlight that.